Word broke over the weekend, but it was made official Monday morning. The Eskimos have indeed hired Brock Sunderland as their new vice president of football and general manager. It comes just over 2 weeks since the firing of Ed Hervey. Dave, Brock Sunderland, 37 years old, becomes the youngest GM in the CFL, and he comes, even though he's young, with a very extensive resume.
Yes, he does. A former director of scouting with the Montreal Alouettes, spent 5 years in the NFL for the New York Jets as a pro scout, and since 2013 was the assistant general manager working alongside general manager Marcel Desjardins with the Ottawa Redblacks, building that team into a Grey Cup contender and a Grey Cup champion. So at 37 years of age, his resume is quite impressive, and one of the sharpest football minds out there, and really the top candidate for the job of Eskimos GM and vice president of football operations.
The timing of all this is kind of unorthodox. You don't usually fire or hire general managers this close to training camp. So what kind of a position does that put Sunderland in as he takes over the job with training camp beginning in 6 weeks?
Well, he has the luxury of having a roster that's pretty much in place, a draft that's coming up in less than 2 weeks that's pretty much been planned for. I think this is a great opportunity for Brock Sunderland just to come in with with his football knowledge, but also to sit back and watch what he has with head coach Jason Moss and with the rest of the management team. Work with Paul Jones, who was the acting general manager for the last 2.5 weeks. Just sit and observe, see what you have. I'm sure he'll be making some decisions, but any major decisions that have to be made, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe those are, you wait a bit to make those decisions until you're really comfortable with your football team. But I think Jason Moss will be a really big resource for him, because there's no one that's better equipped to understand what he has for his roster or with the roster than Jason Moss. So I think this is a really an important learning year for Brock Sunderland.
And those two obviously have a bit of a history together with their time together with the Ottawa Redblacks. He was under contract to Ottawa, so there will be compensation that the Eskimos have to pay to the Redblacks.
Yes, there is. What Brock Sunderland would have made this year with the Ottawa Redblacks, the Eskimos must pay half of that salary, or the equivalent of half of what that salary would have been in 2017 to the Ottawa Redblacks. So that is the deal. Brock Sunderland will be paid. He's not going to take a 50% pay cut or anything like that. But what he was supposed to make with the Redblacks in 2017, the Eskimos will owe half of, or the equivalent of half of that salary as compensation.
Brock Sunderland is the new general manager of the Edmonton Eskimos. He'll jump right into the role. He'll have a news conference on Tuesday, which you'll hear live on 6:30 CHED at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Then he'll head next week to the Eskimos minicamp in Las Vegas. 2 weeks from now, it's the CFL draft.